Hi, this is Joanna and I'm back today with another video. And today I'm creating a card for the challenge Addicted to CAS. I'm a design team member over there, and this time it's my challenge and I chose the code word blue. And I'm using dies today. I'm using a ring frame and I'm using the small hello. And they are both from Simon Says Stamp. And I'm starting out with my card base, and I'm using a Nina Solo White 110 pounds, and I'm using my Marta Mini scoring board to score it at 5.5. So it's 5.5 and 4.25. And then I have a piece of the same cardstock cut just slightly smaller, and I will use that card front to cut my ring frame out of. So I'm just taping it in place while I run it through my die cut machine. And I'm going to do some inlay die cutting, so I want to save all the small pieces. So I'm just setting them aside. And then I will start to color all of my circles. And I'm using Distress ink today to color my circles. But you can, of course, use whatever color you like. You can use watercolors, or you can use Copic markers, or it doesn't really matter. But I wanted to use Distress ink today because I just got a new ink pad. It's one of the new colors Tim Holtz released this year, is Mermaid Lagoon, and I really like it, so that's why I used all of my blue Distress ink today. So I'm taking a round mini inking tool. So I'm just coloring them in, and I want them to have some interest. So I'm trying to make them darker towards the edges, so they have some light in the center. And now they are all colored, and just to emphasize the circles even more, I'm taking the Distress ink again, the same color, and I'm adding some additional ink only to the edges, is to make them a little bit more interesting and more dimensional. So this is the last circle. And look at my fingers. I really hate inky fingers, but well, I do love distressing, so what are you gonna do? And here I'm reusing my my paper to create the inlays, and here I run out of adhesive, but it doesn't really matter. I just had the right amount of adhesive, luckily. So I'm just adding my card front onto this copy paper with adhesive on it. And then I will use my scissors to cut it out, and I'm cutting it slightly smaller so I'm certain that it doesn't show. And I'm using some multi-matte medium as well to just glue the edges. And if you are interested in any of the supplies that I used in this video, I have listed them in the YouTube description down below, or you can find them over at my blog as well. So here's the fun part. It's like a puzzle piece, so I'm just adding my circles onto the card base. And I didn't plan this out, I'm just putting the circles in where I think they will look good. And I really like blue. I tend to use a lot of blue in my cards. I don't know if you have a favorite color. But blue, I think blue is definitely one of mine. So here it is. And now it's time to create the sentiment. And as I said earlier, I'm using the small hello die, also from Simon. And I die cut 2 of them. And then I'm inking one of them up with a dark Distress ink. This is Faded Jeans. So I'm just adding pouncing color onto it. And then I'm using my 2-way Sig glue pen to adhere them together, because I want the white hello to have a bit of shadow. So that's why I die cut 2. And then I'm just adhering them slightly offset to each other. And I think this is a really good way if you have a white background and you want sentiment also to be white, just to add a shadow underneath it, and then it will really pop against the white. And now it's time to adhere the front panel. So I have used some 3M foam tape on the back. And then I will just adhere it onto the card. And I'm always struggling with this because I want it straight, but I think it's really hard to adhere it straight. And the distress ink takes a while to dry, so just to make sure that I don't smear the front panel, I use some paper between my hand and the card when I press the foam tape in place. And then I'm using my two-way C glue pen again to adhere the die cut piece onto the card. And while it's drying, I'm leaving my acrylic block over it, just to make sure that it stays in place. And then the card is done. So I hope that you like the card, and I hope to see you over at Addicted to CAS. So please come over and play with us. Take care. Bye.